We're live without Ryan.
Hello, everyone, except for
Hello.
Ryan.
Hello.
Whoa,
Uh,
oh, oh. Whoa. Well, the Twitch stream's working because I was just getting like triple.
I had to
Purple of
mute it
us.
right away. Yeah.
I said that I would check to make sure the audio was working, and then I didn't do any of that. So I'm glad somebody did. Uh, hey, are we getting Ryan? Is Ryan joining? Hey,
Oh,
hey.
I guess it's on backwards.
You see
Yeah,
his
it's.
video? I don't see his video.
I see his video,
I'm
which
up.
is
Oh,
unfortunate
there
since
it
you're the
is.
one broadcasting.
I see it now.
Hello, everyone. Long time no talk slash play. This is 4 weeks, I think. This is Nerds in Space, a Death in Space podcast. We're streaming live on twitch.tv/Nerdentity Crisis. Hopefully you guys have been doing well. Quick recap of the last episode. Y'all are helping Horace with some archaeological digging. You've headed down into the cave system, where you were promptly attacked by giant featherless birds, which kind of fucked up your shit. It's the technical term.
They didn't fuck up my
And
shit.
not your shit. Horace's shit, and I don't know who else's shit got fucked, but there's a fuck shit stack
Mufasa's.
situation.
I think
Mufasa's
Mufasa
shit
got
got
pretty
fucked.
got
Sure did.
messed up. Yeah.
Um, and so, yeah. So last, we left off. You rested. You bandaged up Horace, and that's all I remember. So
Yeah, that sounds about like everything though.
luckily, Justin recapped the episode in chat because I was gonna have to go listen to my self talk for 2 hours, which is just brutal, just brutal. I don't know if you all have the same aversion to listening to yourself as I do, but um,
Yeah, it's not my favorite.
but anywho, so yeah, you all are in the cave system, rested up, ready to continue deeper into the caves.
All right.
So we're in,
So we're waking up. I'm gonna pack up or sling my rifle and
sling it into the void.
no, sling it over my shoulder. I'm not an idiot.
Maybe your character was. I don't know. I don't know. No.
But yeah, how you guys feeling?
I'm good to go. Thank you for the healing me, Hayes. I appreciate it.
Yep. Yep, absolutely.
I
And
think we probably need to go find Mr. Mittens. I'm not sure where he took off to, but he was out for revenge.
the
He
cats hate birds.
he
So
tore after the animal that fucked my shit up. So I think we probably need to get moving.
um yeah. So Horace is bandaged. We got a cat on screen. Not Mr. Mittens, but a biological version of Mr. Mittens. Uh so you Horace is bandaged up, but he's not like healed exactly. He's kind of limping. He's had better days. So uh there is kind of deeper down where you're headed towards, there is going to be, like more camp supplies there. And so that generally would probably be a good idea for Horace But
Is it, Horace, do you think we're better off to get you to that next camp? Maybe find you a splint and some stuff? Or would you rather we try to get you out of here?
it's probably equal distance each way. So if you all are down with continuing, we might as well just head deeper. There are supplies there, and uh, we have the rest of the archaeological crew. So
The rest of the crew?
crew.
Oh, there's more people down there?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, okay.
They're doing the archaeology parts, and you guys are doing all of the lifting heavy rocks part.
Okay.
Um, so
Okay.
they found like another sub chamber, but they have to like get to it. So
Okay. Cool. Well, yeah. Suppose let's start heading that way. Do you need a shoulder to lean on, Horace?
he uh he at first, says like, I think I got it, but he's limping pretty bad, so it's up to you whether you push the subject.
Yeah, I'll just kind of get up close and come on, lean on me, man. This is gonna take us too long
Bring it
if you're
in.
gonna be trying to play a tough guy here.
He he already wasn't, the fastest old man in the world, but he is significantly faster leaning on your shoulder than hobbling around.
All right. Cool. Well then, yeah, we'll continue on down the path of no return.
I, I mean, you probably
We
return.
return. Yeah.
Uh, you could if you wanted to. So you head further into this tunnel system. It's pretty windy. Similar to before, there is a lot of like random paths that seem to branch off in one direction or another. It is a cave system, right? So just years of plates moving and rocks being cut down with water and ice. It's just kind of created years over years. But Horace seems to know where he's going. It's like he does this for a living or something. And seems to be heading in like a very sure direction. You're moving a bit slower because of it, but of his injury, but you're keeping up good pace. You realize that uh, had you been trying to navigate down here just purely, on someone's word, you would have been lost ages ago. Um,
Is there an obvious way back up, just in terms of lights, or without Horace, are we gonna be kind of fucked?
Without Horace, you're going to be a little fucked. You would be able to find your way out, but not in any like speediest way. You would have to do some trial and error because somebody roll me what's uh what's the stat for savvy. Go ahead and roll me a savvy.
All
Go
of us, or
for it.
just one of us?
Hayes is the one kind of
Okay.
leading the path, so
14.
14. Okay. So, although there's like tons of branching paths and you realize that it would take you ages, and there's not really like torches or LEDs or anything that really light up the vast majority of these paths. You're just like working with the hooded lanterns that Horus has. You do recognize that if you were to pay attention to the floor, there's significantly more, footprints and scuffing and tool marks and things on the path that you're going in. So it would be slow going, but you could eventually figure out your way there. If you had some sort of tracking system or breadcrumb situation, it would go faster, but you would eventually find your way out, or at least back to where you just fought those birds.
All right. Well, I didn't have the wherewithal to do a breadcrumb like situation, so we'll just keep on trucking, I suppose.
Yeah, I'll just follow.
I think the key will be just don't get lost, and you'll be fine.
Oh yeah.
Easy peasy, because
Tick's our
all
master navigator, so
hopefully Tick's
Shit.
paying attention.
Rat, you paying attention? Fuck you, Rat.
uh,
That's like
yeah,
Mr. Mittens was doing it. You're like, yeah, that sounds about right.
Mr. Mitten's off doing something. Who knows?
Mapping the whole
So
place.
here, we'll go with that. It has that like red beam from the movie Prometheus to like map all of the tunnel systems. I don't know if y'all remember that. That movie
great
sucked,
movie.
but
I loved it.
I love that movie. I don't know what you're talking
Same.
about.
I would have liked it more if it didn't suck.
Knowing Huff,
The
I knew that was coming.
Yeah, you should not have been expecting anything else.
Hey Horace, do you guys have a medic down there by chance?
So we don't have a medic per se, but some of the archaeologists have been trained in, kind of field medicine. So they can patch you up. They can, splint something if we need to, but none of them are, you know, going to be sewing anything back together or, putting an arm back on.
All right, well, how about next time we encounter something, you be a little more careful then, buddy.
Uh, yeah, we'll give that a try. Uh, can't say I was thought I was as being uncareful before, but here we are, here we are. So we haven't been attacked by those birds in ages. I didn't know there was even any down here still.
They must sense evil.
Uh, flashlights don't work in evil, and he's got a lantern right now, so um, should be fine. Should be fine. So yeah, you continue down this winding path of kind of confusing cave-like corridors, and um, yeah. Anything before we kind of continue through?
Hey Mufasa,
So
can I hold your gun while I'm up here?
the hell you want my gun for?
It's just a little easier to carry than my long rifle.
We'll get your own fucking gun then. This is my gun.
But you're in back behind us, all safe.
I don't give a damn. I'm not going in with just a knife. Did you see what happened to me earlier? I got
Well,
fucked up.
if I have to shoot, it'll give us enough time to throw you your gun, get Horace tucked into a safe nook, and I'll get my rifle out.
I tell you
Just
what, if we find Mr. Mittens, you can have my gun. Until then, I'm keeping it.
all right.
And Mr. Middens ran
Just
opposite direction
just
of the
whatever way the bird flew to, Mr. Mittens chased after it.
Yeah, it went back the direction that you came from initially. So
He's
you're,
looking
you're
for me.
all you're
He'll
all
find
heading
me.
the wrong way.
He'll find me.
Well, the good news is the birds don't fly anywhere, so hopefully it's not too hard for Mr. Mittens to catch them.
Right.
Also, I mean, haven't you seen Homeward Bound? They'll always end up at home.
Yeah.
Here's home. The ship? Like,
Yeah.
if
The
it's
ship's
off planet.
the ship's
Sorry,
blocked off.
kitty.
Homeward Bound, don't they like find the family even
Yeah,
at a new
after they
house?
moved. Yeah, they
Yeah.
moved in the
Um,
What a good
exactly.
movie. Anyways, sorry. All right.
The
Um.
day for
Well.
tangents. Uh,
Well. Yeah. Let's just keep on trucking then.
okay. So you kind of reach uh like an intersection almost. It like tees off or Ys off to some degree. Kind of beyond the Y, like when you have left and right essentially. There's kind of an outcropping of some boulders. And Horace kind of asks to cat's attacking us. There's a outcropping of boulders, and Horace asks to sit down, and is it attacking the screen?
No, I think she sees herself in my computer.
Oh, nice. Uh, uh, he just kind of wants to take a break. But three of you can roll me a savvy while he kind of takes his seat.
18.
22.
Apparently. Well, I just used up all my good rolls for the week.
I
What?
rolled a Adam rolled a 20, I rolled a 22.
Okay.
You have
Luckily,
3 savvy.
Mm-hmm.
Goddamn.
That's why I'm the
uh,
pilot.
that is why you're the pilot. So luckily, it was incredibly obvious that kind of above this resting place,
Incredibly
the
obvious.
it was. Well, I have a theory that no one looks up ever, and so you
Fair.
guys proved that incorrect with your 20s and whatever. So you see that there's all these small boulders that Horace is kind of resting on, but that's because above you is this gigantic boulder, kind of wedged in between these three walls. Uh, if the boulder were to come down, it would, you know, you would be pancaked in. But Horace kind of sees you all looking at that giant precarious boulder, and he explains that boulder has likely been there for 100 million years, if not longer. If it was gonna come down, it would have done so, years and years prior.
You clearly haven't met us in our luck, but okay, sure.
Yeah,
Uh,
all our luck's gone from right there.
Yeah.
It's gone for the day.
Hayes nods as he keeps stepping further into
Like
the tunnel and away
yeah, to
from
the side.
the boulder.
you're just like
Same.
edging up against the wall,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah,
uh,
totally, totally.
yeah, yeah. I mean, you think about it logistically, and that boulder is gigantic. Like it's gonna take an active god to move it, but it is
Or a bunch of earthquakes, seismic
Right?
activity.
terrifying.
Exactly. Like all these
Terrifying.
earthquakes. Yeah.
Yeah. You kind of take a rest, although maybe your body is at rest, but your mind is not at ease under this giant boulder. But there is, Horace rests up and kind of gets some energy back from hobbling along this entire way. Um, he kind of explains to you that the birds that you fought are native to the planet, and they typically burrow into holes of their own making. But uh, in this case, they kind of retrofitted a cave, which works to their favor as well. And they primarily eat the giant bugs that exist on the planet, but they've been known to eat, small creatures and people, and the normal. Typically, they would attack smaller prey, like the size of a dog or something. But if they get hungry enough, then they'll go for some bigger prey, especially if they show up in numbers.
Makes sense. I've been desperate enough to eat McDonald's before.
Exactly. Humans are the McDonald's of the food chain. Uh, um, and raw chicken is the Taco Bell of the food chain. So you're kind of sitting there, and Horace, kind of grabs at your arm to get back up and kind of continue his way. Uh, as he like pulls your arm, you kind of lose your balance a little bit, which is odd because one, he's a frail old man, and two, he didn't pull you that hard. Uh, it's also odd that all three of you lose your balance, even though he only grabs, Hayes. You realize an earthquake has begun. Uh, you hear. I saw you speak at him, but I didn't hear what you said.
Oh, Jesus fucking Christ.
Uh,
Under my
so
breath.
you at first you think it's just like maybe like an aftershock or something. It seems to be relatively low impact, but the ground starts heaving and hawing in larger and larger uh, amounts. You hear kind of clattering as small pebbles and rocks kind of descend upon you in this tunnel. Uh, at this point, you hear kind of a huge thunk and then cracking noise as parts of the wall cleave from the cave itself, uh, allowing enough room for this kind of giant boulder to start descending upon you. Now, luckily, it's kind of wedged into the wall, so you all get an action to get the fuck out of the way.
I'm gonna grab Horace and pull him towards whatever side is closest.
Do you all just kind of like flee out your closest direction?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or you could, or you could stand there. That's also an option.
I'm
No.
going to
If you
choose not to stand there.
if you want to, I could have you roll a body check to try to hold this boulder into place.
Just
Uh,
Goku that shit. Just
yes.
You need to roll at least a 95.
Uh, you would have to. It would be like Goku holding the spirit ball, and it would be equally as effective.
yes.
For those of you
Because
who
you'll
remember,
miss.
yes, the boulder will not miss if you're under it. Okay, so it kind of starts slamming into place. Your scurrying isn't really gonna do it. So you're gonna have to do like a dive roll. Um, so Hayes, I'm gonna have you roll twice, one body for you to dive roll. But first, the first roll you're gonna do is to heave Horace out of the way of harm. And then the other two, I'm gonna have you roll to do kind of like a dive roll out of harm's way.
All right, I am.
This is body.
Body, yep.
I rolled once for Horace, but I'm gonna use my void point.
Actually, sorry. You can either use body or dex, whichever is better.
Oh well, then in that
Oh.
case, I'm gonna use Dex.
Dex. Yeah.
Can I roll 2d20 and do it at the same time? Or will that give me... I'll just roll them separately, because I was trying to cheese using... I only have one void point, so I was gonna
Oh.
cheese that. But I'm gonna heave Horace and hope for the best, and then use a void point on myself to make sure
Smart.
that.
Yeah.
That is
Now you're
the
thinking.
the much less nice but much smarter decision,
Yeah.
I think.
All right, so I got an 8 for Horace and an 11 or 14 for me. So I'm gonna go with the 14 for me.
It's probably a wise choice. Okay, so you kind of like shove Horace, just just out of the way. Um, he you don't do it in a particularly
Well, he was trying to
I
reach for me, and so maybe like a pull yank.
yeah, like the moral of the story is you kind of did it in a way where he didn't have sure footing. And so you kind of just pushed him to the ground a little bit. Uh Now he's gonna go ahead and attempts to do his own dex roll to see if he can roll like out of the way. Um okay, he has rolled. What do the rest of you get?
Well, I definitely am gonna use a void point as well with this, and then use a dex.
What do I have to roll again?
1d20 plus either your body or your dex, whichever is
Which are
better.
both fucked, but okay.
And then what? Do you get to roll twice? Then is that like how it goes, or what?
If you
Yeah.
use a void point, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm I'm
It's kind of
out.
like just rolling with
Well,
advantage.
12 is what I got.
Is 12 a success
17.
or 14 a
Well,
success?
12 is a success.
Oh, thank God.
12 and higher. Ryan, what'd you get?
I got 17.
Ooh. Yeah, you do like one of those sick dive rolls where you like the parkour dive roll where like you over the shoulder and you're fine. You're golden. Tick, on the other hand, less glorious. He does what I do when I wreck on the longboard, which is to attempt to tuck and roll, but instead just elbow the ground as hard as you can and then roll over your own body. So you do take 2 damage from your terrible, terrible acrobatics. Horace,
Even though it was a success.
it was a success, but it wasn't a pretty one.
I didn't die.
You didn't die, which is a positive. Horace does survive. He does not get crushed to death, but he takes more bumps and bruises as he kind of just face plants and then rolls out of the way of the boulder. So he seems to have a broken nose currently, and is bleeding. What did you get, Ace?
14.
14? Okay. You managed to kind of leap out of the way. Wasn't wasn't great, wasn't bad. You did it. Wasn't great. You currently are the only one who can kind of see Horace's kind of bleeding face as he is uh in a fetal position upon the floor. The only reason that you're able to see it is the party has been split. Your nearest routes were not the same. So right now, Horace and Hayes, we got the H's, have gone right, and the rest
Hate
of the
squad.
party, H squad, the rest of the party has gone left. Uh, as of this point, you don't actually know which direction was the one you were going to be headed in because nobody asked. So it is hard to know whether you are on the same path or not.
All right.
Okay.
Can you guys hear me?
Okay.
It's very echoey, so you can hear a lot of yourself, but the rest of the party cannot hear you. It seems like it's almost as if this boulder has, been carved from the hallway itself. You can't even fit paper through it to get to the other side. So that they don't hear anything through the boulder.
Oh, great. Well, I'll try to help Horace up. Mm, your face is bleeding a bit, dude.
He kind of uses his sleeve to like try to get it. He realizes it's probably broken, and so he just kind of holds it closed and like lifts his head back and uh kind of sets it moderately. If you've ever done that, it's hard to get it perfect, so you kind of just aim for the best. But he just continues holding it because it will continue bleeding until that stems. Um, he kind of, like mumbles like, "God damn, you guys are really unlucky."
uh, we told you.
uh, you don't know what's going through his head currently, but you assume it's why couldn't I have hired someone else? He likes you guys all right, but yeah, your luck is pretty not great thus far. But you all do still feel the earthquake is still happening. Uh you seem to be out of immediate danger, but you are still like a mile underground. So take that as you will.
Fair. Do you know if this path is gonna take us where we want to go?
He says, and I am not gonna plug my nose every time I speak for Horace, but he says luckily both routes lead the same way. This route was the way I was gonna take you, which is a little bit shorter and a little bit safer. Uh the other route is harrowing, we'll say. It requires a little bit more of a stomach.
All right. Well, hopefully those two uh don't kill each other, and
He
we'll just
uh
have to meet them there.
he kind of leans on your shoulder again to kind of start walking a little bit. He's definitely he's had better days.
Yeah, it looked like it.
Um and so luckily a broken nose doesn't make you walk any slower, so that's a bonus. Um but
All right.
You want to cut over to us?
sure. You
All right.
kind of dust yourselves off because you both
Hit my
you
funny
know
bone.
So
rolled. Yeah,
for the sake of Horace and I's, is it a, like you said, pretty smooth sailing? So we'll just presumably keep slow walking, taking our time towards the camp.
correct. If you have any random encounters or anything on the way, I will let you know. But for now, while we're dealing with the other party, you're just kind of walking along. So you dust yourselves off. Yeah, your elbow is very sore. Um, it's bleeding a little bit from just kind of nailing it, but you've had worse. It's kind of hard to tuck and roll when you are in your lanky space body.
Mhm.
So
I'm gonna use some of the. I had a bolt of burlap cloth that we got from that place before. I'm just kind of gonna make like maybe a makeshift bandage or something just to kind of wrap around it or do something with it.
you just shove USB drives into the
No,
wound.
not those yet.
Uh, so
Maybe
yeah,
later to clot the wound, but
you are able to kind of bandage up the wound. Because of the kind of the thickness of the cloth, it's kind of hard to bend the arm. It's like it's wrapped around your elbow, so you have some limited range of motion, but it's not actively bleeding all over the place. So that's a plus. You probably will want to disinfect it eventually.
Yeah.
All
Throw
right,
some spices in it. Nope,
I'm
don't
just
do
gonna
that.
kind of inspect behind us, see if there's any way of picking through rubble or anything.
So you see that there are some like smaller rocks around, but that boulder seems to have come down and as far as you can tell, one clean chunk. And so you could clear out some of the rubble that's there, but without like a drill, you're not getting through this boulder.
Okay.
It's gigantic. So even with the tools that you have available to you, you're gonna need probably the tools from the archaeology dig site because they've got some photon drills to kind of break down some of the larger
Okay.
obstructions.
I'm gonna pull out Rat and just have him check around to make sure there isn't even maybe like the smallest of crack that maybe he can slip through. Worth at least a shot to maybe communicate to them.
Okay. Uh, so Rat kind of digs around and seems to be like sniffing its way around more than seeing. Uh, it seems to be trying to find like if there's any pockets of air or something from the other side. It kind of comes back to you, and its little LED screen on the top of it just shows a thumbs down emoji, uh, which
Damn. Okay.
either
Yeah, we're
either
not gonna
there
let
are no holes or there's no holes that Rat can get through at least.
Yeah.
I don't know if rat can fit through holes that a normal rat could go through. I
They
learned.
don't have like flex metal, like it's like a
Yeah, I don't
chain
know.
mail or
I
something.
don't know. We'll have to answer that eventually, but because
Not today.
I know I'm going on tangents today, but I read recently that mice, which are granted significantly smaller than rats, can fit through a hole the size of a pencil.
What? That's
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah. Like if their skull can go through it, they could like
That's what I'm saying. Like, how their
put putting their
skull isn't
body.
that big?
Interesting.
Huh?
Uh,
Maybe actually, I don't know.
yeah, I don't know. I don't know. It probably depends on the size of mouse and what type of mouse and whatever, but that's what I read recently. There was a
All right.
there was a there was a mouse in my house, like right up there. So I've been doing
That's
a significant amount of mouse research recently. But yeah.
All right. I'm just gonna look at Tick and be like, "Well, buddy, no way to go but forward, I guess." And I'm just
yeah,
gonna start
yeah.
heading off
If
down the
Brad
tunnel.
doesn't find anything, then yeah, I'll fall behind.
Okay. So you travel, you know, a fairly good distance. Y'all bought lights last time, right?
I got a headlamp. Yeah,
Yeah, I've got the bullet lantern.
So
that's
luckily
right.
you do have light. This would have been worse if you didn't. Uh, but yeah, you're able to kind of continue through this cave system. The difference between where you were before and now is there seems to be significantly more rubble on the ground. Partially, you think maybe because of the earthquake, and then partially it seems like some of the floors are a little less secure than the other ones. And it seems like you're walking on piles of ceiling rubble. This cave seems to have significantly more damage than the system that you've been walking through.
Okay,
Um, I don't know
but
if
it's
any.
just like a straight tunnel, right? Like there's no branching paths. There's nothing like that.
I mean, there's some like cubbies here and there,
Okay.
but when you shine your light into them, they seem to only go like a foot or two. Um, nothing to really kind of get you off course.
Okay. All right. Uh, I'm just gonna keep heading, I guess.
Okay.
Right? Where else can we go?
You're right.
Yeah. So really quick, just on the other side of the tunnel system, Hayes and Horace, um, you kind of hear in the distance, uh, like a jittering, kind of clacking and clicking and clacking noise. You are unsure what that noise is, but have you ever heard a clicking, clacking in a dark cave and it was a good thing? Uh, I haven't, but right, I haven't heard that noise at all in a cave, but I would still shit myself if I did. But moral of the story, you hear something up ahead. You're unsure what exactly, but
All
yeah.
right. I look over or like next to at Horace. Can you walk without my support?
He says yes. He's a little unsure of his footing, but he can walk it. He's just a little slow.
All right. I'm gonna slowly unclasp ourselves from each other and pull out my rifle.
Just peel him off of you.
Uh, and double checking my mag. Looks like I got one in the chamber and one more bullet in the mag. I do have another mag. I don't remember what's full, but there's a full one. I don't know. I don't know what full means in terms of
I
how
think
many
it.
bullets.
I think it was 6, but we can look that up. But I think it was 6.
Okay. Um,
I
hearing that,
mean, I mean
hearing
when you first.
that's.
Sorry. Good.
I was just gonna say, Horace, hearing that sound, does that sound like more of those birds?
He didn't hear it.
I guess he's a little distracted. All right.
And he's old. His, you
Do
know,
an
his,
impersonation of it.
as you were holding him, you could hear a high pitched whine of his hearing aids that he can't seem to hear. No, he didn't seem to hear it. Either distracted, in pain, a combination of all of those things.
Fair.
Um,
Okay, well then I'll go to just slowly walk ahead of him, but I saw Ghost Marissa in my screen.
yeah, like traveling across the screen.
Yep,
Uh,
yeah, you popped up somewhere in here. It's
I'm waving to
oh,
Ghost
there, yeah.
Marissa. Hello. Okay.
Um,
So you just continue forward, but with the rifle this time.
yeah, and
And
slow.
Horace had a lamp. Did you buy a lamp? I don't
I
remember.
have a headlamp.
Headlamp. Cool. So yeah, you are good. So traveling back to the non-H uh, team, you kind of continue, uh, and you see kind of an opening. You're not quite sure if it's into a room or what, but the headlamp doesn't shine against anything. It's just kind of like a dark void ahead of you. You inch towards it. Who's kind of in the lead here?
I think I'm in the lead and Tick's behind me.
You've got the better headlamp, right? So,
Yeah.
um, so yeah, you kind of inch forward towards this room, uh, and you kind of peer inside this open area, and it is truly massive, like bigger than the bigger than the room you fought the birds in.
Oh damn.
It's huge. But one thing kind of catches your eye, or doesn't catch your eye, is the sheer lack of ground in kind of either side. There seems to
Gotcha.
be like a precarious set of boulders that have fallen in this, pit of a room, which can make a makeshift path. It's now its intended use. It's just a bunch of boulders that happen to be there. Uh, but we're talking like a couple 100 feet in either direction, um, kind of to either side. So imagine the path with the Balrog from Lord of the Rings.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Like
gotcha.
fall off, you're gonna get fucked. By maybe a Balrog. You don't know what's down there.
If we have to fight a Balrog, I swear to God.
You shall
uh,
not pass. Don't worry.
which one of you is Gandalf?
Yeah.
And the answer is Hayes. He's on the other side.
Yeah.
Oh,
So, you kind of peer over to the side and look, and it's dark enough that your beam seems to do nothing. So you're unsure how far it goes. Uh,
I'm
one
going. Oh, go ahead. Keep going.
uh, one thing we're gonna have you do is both roll me a savvy.
12.
16.
16. Okay, so as you look up, both of you notice that uh, there seems to be like something hanging from the ceiling. You're not entirely sure what it is. They seem to be almost uh, like bags, like really large bags. But they seem to be covered in almost like a film or something. Um,
Sounds like
it
an egg sack to me. Like the way you described that. Ugh.
uh, you kind of think about it for a little bit, and what were your rolls again?
12.
I had 16.
16. Okay, Tick, you realize that you you're not entirely sure. You've never seen these things before, but they almost look uh, like spider eggs, um, and this kind of
Living
like
eggs.
film around them is like webbing, holding it into the ceiling. Um, you you kind of like are thinking about the general size of these things, and they're about the same size as the golf cart vehicle that brought you to the cave system. And there's 40 of them, maybe, kind of just hanging in big clumps from the ceiling. You are not familiar with this, and you're only kind of sort of familiar with this like spiders of normal size. So you have no idea if there's anything in it. And I mean, hell, the giant birds could come out of these things for all you know. Uh, but they remind you of spider silk sacks.
Well
Neither of you
Uh,
see anything moving, by the way,
then.
just so you're aware.
Yeah,
I kind of turn back to Tick. I'm like, let's move as
yeah, this maybe
quietly
that's
as
the
we
bugs
possibly can.
that
Yeah.
Horace was talking about. Maybe they were fucking spiders. Yeah, I think yeah.
This doesn't seem like an ideal situation. Uh,
The fuck out through here and find them.
I'm gonna. I'll take the lead and I'll attempt to like slowly pick my way kind of across the boulders, like you were saying, to
Okay.
see if I can get to the other side. But I'm gonna go as quietly as I can.
Okay. So you kind of make your way across the first couple of boulders. Um, they're not, again, it's not a path, not a bridge, not a walkway. It is a pile of boulders, right? So you make your kind of way around, and it's kind of skewed aside to some degree, so you kind of have to shuffle across it. You uh, are happy that you are carrying a headlamp, because you feel unsure about where your hand should be, just in case. Tick, um, you because you're actually carrying a light, um, are moving a little slower, just like keeping one hand just to like balance a little bit better. It is kind of precarious. But after the first couple of boulders that, are kind of all disheveled, you reach uh like a chasm between you and the next boulder. Uh it's not a big jump, uh but the distance is only like 2 feet, which is everyone can jump 2 feet in this game. That's not an issue. The issue is that it's over a pit that you can't see the bottom of. And so you kind of like come up to this precipice, uh, and um, I don't know if I'm gonna need you to like roll your cojones check or what, but it's gonna, there's a reason. Although you didn't hear it, Hayes heard it. That Horace said you need to have your spirits about you on your path, because it's scary shit. Um, but
Okay, I'm gonna stop then. I'm gonna turn to Tick. I'm gonna be like, "You want to go first?"
Yeah, this is easy. It's just like space.
uh,
I'm just gonna like pretend it's just like I'm in outer space and I'm doing this a million times because I was born
Did
out here in the
did you
nothingness. Like,
did
let's
you
do
know
it.
that there's gravity here? Did you know that? And you could fall and you could die.
I'm gonna just go straight ahead and just go do the jump. Like it's
Okay,
nothing.
all right.
uh, so yeah, you go ahead and roll me a dex.
Dex. Okay.
So just for my notes, they're in a large like cavern type thing with a bunch of boulders and whatnot, and they need to jump a small 2 foot gap
Yep.
from one boulder
15.
to another.
Yep. Okay. So you I mean it's an easy jump, right? You have sure footing, you got long ass space legs, and you like I mean you're fine. You're like a basketball player.
I turn and I'm
Yeah.
like, it's fine.
All right.
How do, how does Mufasa feel about this jump?
I'm a little nervous about it. I don't like heights. Not a huge fan, but I'm gonna go. What did you say, Dex?
Yeah, yeah.
14.
14. Okay. So you go and you make the jump, uh but it's a little less convincing, I guess, than when Tick jumped. You do make it across, but you kind of like stumble at the last minute, kind of like catching your footing. But you do manage to kind of clear this gap.
Okay. All right. Um, I'll be like,
See,
see,
wasn't anything, you
I
big
told you that
baby.
was close. That was close. That was closer than I wanted it to be. Um, continue on.
Yeah.
Uh,
Like I said,
yep.
I'm leading a little bit. I'm gonna keep going, but I've got like the bullet lantern, so I'm gonna be kind of going a little bit slower.
I'll take the lead again.
You're gonna like squeeze around me?
Yeah.
Like what?
Pardon me, coming through.
Like what?
I mean
You
the
wanna like
boulders are.
leapfrog me? You wanna get down like a little kid? Like
Yeah, yeah, and you do have enough room to get around, but we're talking
yeah, I'll keep going ahead a little bit.
like
All right. Well, hurry the fuck up because I want to get out of here. This place
Well,
sucks.
give me your headlamp. That like I don't know. Like I'm going as fast as I can. follow the trusty lantern. Like,
I mean, if
it's a bullet thing, so like I'm casting it down like on the little bit of path that I've got. So like I'm
yeah, I don't
So
know.
deforming it here.
I'm gonna say, fucking fine. Take the goddamn headlamp then. I don't care. We just gotta get moving. And I pull off my lamp and I hand it to
Okay.
him.
And then
We
do
got
you
night vision.
give
Oh my god,
and
I can see everything.
oh shit, there's a fuck ton of spider. No.
Did you see these spider eggs that I saw earlier? They're crazy.
And then
Okay.
do you give
The
the
bullet
No,
bullet
I'm just
lantern.
lantern?
gonna keep moving with all three of them now. Like,
Uh
no,
yeah,
I'm
okay.
kidding. He can have the shitty
Alright,
lantern
I
here,
take the
so he can
bullet
like
lamp.
follow behind him. Yeah.
Uh so you you kind of are like inching along. This next series of boulders seem to be um kind of like cracked and disheveled as you move across. Uh, but you kind of are able to move along it, uh, you know, perfectly fine, if albeit slowly, until you kind of make it to the other cave system on the other side of this room. Um, so um, you kind of breathe a sigh of relief as you kind of make it to this other side because as far as you know, you're back to normal cave system that direction.
I'm like at the like end of the shitty little thing getting
Yeah.
into there. And I'm like, okay, you're how close behind me are you then? Are you like right there?
I'm probably just a couple feet. I was trying to stay close.
Okay. So I'm gonna like turn and have the headlamp. I'm like, here, you can give me the lantern back. Like, I think we're good here.
Alright, tradesies.
And then grab the lantern and I like start handing you the headlamp and I kind of like fumble and like almost like drop it. Would-
Like, oh, that's not fucking funny. Give me the goddamn headlamp.
No, I mean I like do fumble with it and like like drop it.
Oh, you did drop it.
Yes. I mean, are you
Okay.
gonna go for it or not?
You
Uh,
wanna
where did
wow.
it fall? Like
Like, I
just
mean, I
on the
was like, I'm gonna
ground
be like,
or
I'm gonna be like Butterfingers with a little bit, and like as I'm like trying to hand it to you.
Do you want to roll a dex to catch it?
yeah. I'm gonna go for it. 18.
18. Okay, so Tick is he's good at jumping and he's good at space things. Sports are not his thing though. Not the greatest pass that has ever, happened. So as this, headlamp is kind of changing hands, uh Tick kind of fumbles with it. You make a lunge and you're able to kind of catch it before it were to fall into the pit or something.
Okay.
But as
Alright.
you're doing that, I'm gonna kind of like push him a little bit,
Okay.
kind of like
Uh
holding a little bit on it, and I'm like, yeah, I kind of just push him a little bit as he's going for it.
okay, so when you say you push him a little bit, does that mean you don't push him too hard or like
Like I'm gonna,
like
I want to like
Is it
grab
like a
him and
hockey
kind of,
check?
yeah, kind of like a check, but like still kind of like grab him a little bit. Like I'm gonna throw him off balance a little bit here.
okay. So but I feel like that'd be a body check.
Literally and roll. Yeah.
But both, yeah.
Yeah.
Uh
Mine was a 6.
6. Okay, you kind of hate him, but uh like maybe a little harder than you thought. Uh it you kind of lose some footing a little bit, and you kind of like grab at him. You can roll me a dex to try to recover this, to try to catch him.
9.
9.
Well,
Okay, so you're meant to scare him a little bit, but you kind of hit him a little harder than you intended, and then when you go to like grab him, he just kind of starts sliding.
oh shit.
Yeah, I'm gonna frantically reach for something to grab onto.
Okay, go ahead and roll me. Go ahead and roll me Dex. Dex mentions climbing and balancing in the description, so this seems ideal.
16. I can't fucking
16.
miss today.
I mean,
Like
I
when I
like
need
slide and I'm like gonna grab for him, I guess, a little bit.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
think we-
So, you're kind of like sliding on your back down this rock, which is not the greatest for grabbing stuff. So you kind of hurl yourself and just grab. Uh, you're not a climber. That's not your forte. But you do manage to kind of hold on to uh, what's called like a jug, like a good grip.
Okay.
Uh, but your feet are kind of dangling over this edge into this precipice. Uh, you have kind of grabbed this rock with your left hand, and your right hand is kind of clasping Tick, who
Okay.
has kind of reached out to attempt to grab you.
Okay. I'm gonna be like, all right, pull me up. Pull me up.
kind of stare at Mufasa for a little bit, for like a second or two, like thinking.
Pull me up. God damn it.
I like stare right at Mufasa, like eye to eye, like almost dead a little bit inside, and I'm like, "This is for 8, you son of a bitch," and like push him off.
Okay, so you
Or I'm
you
gonna
kind of not
try, I guess.
yeah
I don't know how
uh
this is gonna work.
yeah uh so yeah, you kind of push off. You're not expecting him uh, to attempt murder, essentially. And so you are kind of like off footing here. I mean, your feet are dangling, literally. So,
Yeah.
you know what I mean. Um, so go ahead and roll me a body check on your push, and roll me a dex check on your.
To save. Are you talking about me?
My push was a 12.
That's a successful push.
1.
Oh shit.
Ah,
No way. Oh my god.
ah.
Oh, at least it wasn't a
So,
nat one. It was still a one.
because what's your
My dex is -1, so I rolled a 2, -1.
Okay.
oofda? Okay, so yeah, so I got some bad news for you. Uh, so whether you had intended on it initially or not, this moment of passion, rage,
Anger.
something, uh,
Revenge.
kind of gets the better of you, and you push. Uh, Mufasa has that one good grip on the rock. So when you push him, he kind of like swings. All of his weight is now on one arm. Uh, I don't know about you. I cannot hold myself up with one arm for a long period of time. And so you kind of like are like clawing at this rock, trying to keep your grip. But just the sheer inertia of your own body weight kind of comes down, and you slip from this rock. and kind of plummet to your own demise. You Tick, you don't really hear like a splat or a crash that you would have expected. The moment kind of hits you of like what just transpired. I won't speak to your character on what that emotion is, just that the emotion hits you of like the totalitarian of the whole situation. Uh, and then that's when you hear him hit the ground. It just took a while. It's a lot deeper than you thought it was.
I mean, if anything, he just kind of like feels his arm where the tattoo is and like thinks about 8 for just like a brief moment and then just like, okay, fuck. All right. And then like dusts himself off and keeps going.
You know what the craziest part is? I had so many hollows on me. They're
you
gone.
you had all of the hollows.
Yeah, I had everything.
And the gun.
Yep.
I mean, luckily there's another gun in the
We'll send
party.
for a search party later. It's fine.
So you kind of brush yourself off, and kind of stand up, and you head towards, like where you were heading. But kind of as you exit this room, you hear behind you like a chittering, clacking
Hide
noise
me from where I came from?
from where you came from the large room.
Okay.
Mufasa emerges riding a spider.
Oh, he's riding a Balrog.
Yeah.
Uh,
On top of
uh,
a spider.
yes, yes. It's a Balrog, but with 8 legs. The only thing scarier than a regular
Balrog
Balrog.
Drider sort of situation. Like, what
Right.
the fuck?
They they got fancy with their character sheet. But yeah, you kind of hear that noise behind you. You've never heard it before. You don't really know what it is. Um, it almost sounds like a bone on bone, like as if you made like a wind chime out of bone. Uh,
What was
but
that sound?
uh, but yeah, yeah. All of you know what it sounds like when someone
Josh's like
bone.
backyard's just bone chimes.
uh,
All the children that come to my fucking yard.
You
that's what
know
they get for
what?
leaving the park.
You know
Uh,
what else went down that crevice with all of those hollows? My 35 hollow debt for that headlamp.
uh, you know,
Got him.
you're not wrong.
I mean,
Uh,
are we gonna come back for him, or is he like dead at this point,
Pretty
TM?
sure he's dead, Dad. He's gone.
I missed it. Did you hear the crack at the bottom?
he did eventually. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm. Yeah, for how long that took, I don't know if we'll have a rope long enough.
Yeah.
Spelunking.
Um, you'd have to tie like a shit ton of bed sheets together.
Yeah, no shit.
But yeah, yeah. So interesting turn of events there,
So
but yeah,
Tick also hears the clattering.
But it was
correct.
from behind me in that cavern, so it's
It
probably not necessarily where they were hearing, or maybe it is. I guess I'm not sure where
it
they were hearing from.
it is not where they were hearing it from.
Okay, yeah, yeah.
Josh, you got a
Uh,
couple minutes before you get to me again?
just so you're aware, Mufasa does not hear the clattering.
Yeah.
Just want to make that clear.
Well, Mufasa
Uh,
doesn't hear anything
you got
except
a couple minutes
the
Uh,
before you get to me
endless
again?
abyss.
depends on your religion, I guess. But
Copy, yeah.
yes,
Okay,
yes.
I gotta pee. I'll be back. Keep going.
Okay, so moving back over to Horace and Hayes. Uh, you kind of continue forward, uh, and the tunnel system uh, starts to be covered in what looks to be initially regular spider webs, uh, but it becomes more and more and more thick. You ever seen those like spider trees in Texas where like the whole tree is covered in webs?
Yeah.
Uh, it's like that. Uh, where even as you're walking through it, you're wearing kind of robes, right? Uh,
Yep.
like a cloaked robes. Those seem to be just like sticking, and you're like pulling these webs along with you. You obviously can brute force this. It's not like you're, you
So
know.
even though these people were kind of coming around still, or like there have been other people that have been going through here, they're already full, refilled.
Uh, you could ask Horace.
Fair. Horace, how come? Like, what's causing these webs? Don't you guys come through here? Shouldn't these be cleared?
They should be, but typically we would come through here every couple of days with like a torch, and just kind of let loose on these things. Um, there's how are you with spiders?
I don't know. I haven't really encountered too many spiders in space.
That's probably good. Uh, yeah. So there's some spiders down here. Uh, they're they don't really like fire all that much, so they haven't really been an issue. But but pretty much as soon as we get rid of the webs, they start building them back. They are nothing if not resourceful.
How big are these creatures?
Um, in height or like leg span?
Why
Weird
did you do
thing.
this? Why did you go like that?
Oh, oh no, no, no reason. No reason at all. They are a bit on the bigger side. He can't make eye contact with you.
Fuck.
I don't
Why
like
you
that.
beating? Why is he beating around the bush at this point? Like Jesus, got a
Yeah.
penguin kill their birds and like.
Do they
Does
attack?
Ryan have a blanket, by the way?
Yeah, it's cold in my house. We don't turn on the heat.
I have not turned on my heat either.
The grandpa, I love it. Little buddy.
Uh, back when we played D&D at my house, the Adam Cat would bring like coats
Yeah,
over
we
to my
just
house.
wear our coats. Yeah.
It was like me and like a hoodie and shorts, and them in like full winter coats. The cold is great. Uh, but anyway, the um, so they it's pretty rare that they attack, but it's not
Our luck.
impossible.
Our luck.
Uh, Typically, what it is you're good unless they need to feed their young. So as long as they're not like in the brooding session, uh, we should be fine. I haven't personally noticed any eggs nearby, so we probably should be fine. But typically we burn those out uh, so that we keep the numbers down.
Okay. Well, I don't love that.
Playing some Yahtzee over there, or not
No, I didn't
Yahtzee?
mean
What?
to.
Sorry, is that the
I
game?
I didn't mean to do that.
uh, okay. Um, The
Hmm.
we'll switch back one more time. You said um is there anything, we're kind of nearing the end of a normal session here. So if we were to happen to need to start combat anytime soon, uh then that would probably end the session. Is there anything you want to do before then? Assuming it happens.
Are we on Horace and Hayes still?
I'm just gonna open it to the group. You are not near each other, but any last things you want to do before? I mean, you get attacked by spiders. I'm just gonna come out and say
I
that.
was gonna say if I hear the clattering, just I've got the lantern and pull out my laser pistol, but I'm just gonna keep going away from the chasm thing.
Horace, do you have any torches hidden up your butthole by chance?
He does not have any in his prison pocket. He does have a set book of matches. That is the only fire that he has on him currently. 4 of the 16 have already been used. So you do still have 12 matches available to you. On the other side of the cave structure, we have Tick. Tick, you hear kind of clittering and clattering. The noise seems to be louder and louder and louder. You're not entirely
And
sure.
behind me, or like it's just like at
Behind
this
you.
point it's starting to get like around, or yeah, okay, but
Behind you.
mostly behind.
It seems to be coming from the pit. Uh, you
I'm gonna pick up my
oh,
pace a little bit forward. I mean, but still try to use my lantern.
yeah, you
What?
kind of like hear a noise. You can still kind of see into the pit room a little bit. You aren't super far away from it, but you turn the lantern, with its kind of directed beam there, and you see what looks to be large legs, kind of coming over the boulder structure. You see uh, a spider with about a body the size of like a mom's van, with legs incredibly long. It seems to be carrying what looks to be bits and pieces of Mufasa in its mandibles, as it kind of crests over this.
I think he's
How would I
dead for
know it was
sure.
him? Like Jesus, so is there something oh god.
It could be a different person's body parts that happens
Oh
to be fresh
god.
in that hole. Uh, you you aren't quite sure whether it's seen you, but the reflection of the lantern in its many eyes uh, kind of assures you it probably knows you're there.
I'm
Uh,
immediately turning like 180 and sprinting.
uh, it
Especially after the shine of eyes, like nope, and just like run.
Yeah, it seems to kind of orient itself based off of your movement and starts like heading into this cave. Uh, you're not entirely sure. You kind of assumed it wouldn't fit all that well, but it seems to be able to, as it kind of contorts its legs to kind of less walk through the cave and more claw its way through it.
Nightmare fuel for Justin.
Uh, yeah. So on the other side, uh, you um, you kind of like open into like a cavernous region. You kind of see stalagmites and stalactites that you would see in any cavern of this size, Haze. You kind of shine the light around, looking around, uh, and something is unnerving to you. You can't quite put your finger on exactly what. You can roll me a savvy for to kind of catch on what's so unnerving to you.
Ten.
10. It's something to do with the ceiling. The stalactites specifically. Uh, you can't quite put your finger on it, but something is weird. Um, you kind of make your way into this room, kind of navigating across it, but it finally dawns on you that you can't see the ceiling, but you can see the stalactites. Uh, that they should be connected to the ceiling. You kind of look up and you realize that it's not because they're floating, but that the entire ceiling is covered in this undulating darkness. Uh, as you kind of are staring up at it at this light, you realize it's because it's covered in, we'll say like, basketball-sized spiders that are just covering this ceiling. That the darkness was its black body across it. Uh, as you kind of like stare up, you see eyes kind of turning in your direction, and the chatterings that you heard previously begin. Not in its small form you heard previously, but of a chorus of hundreds of them.
Horus, is that the way that we need to go?
Yes, and he seems to have forgotten his pain to some degree and is now actively running. When you turn his direction, he is like, "Fuck this place,
Fuck
I'm
this.
out."
Yeah.
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 As soon as he hears the noise,
All right, well,
he's getting it.
I'm gonna try to scoop him and also help him run, and we're gonna just try to book it.
Try- so you kind of like run through this room. You see kind of in front of you the cave that you're headed towards in this room. But that undulating darkness of the ceiling starts to head down the walls in, kind of fading numbers. You reach the door of this cave tunnel just as the spiders are like coming into the cave. You're able to kind of rush past them. Uh, but as you do, you kind of look back uh, and you
Well,
see
so
that.
hold on. I'm gonna take you a step back as we're getting closer to the cave. I've
Okay.
got homie on my arm and the rifle. I'm just gonna do a pop shot into the group, the mass coming down.
Okay. Go ahead and roll me a tech.
You kill one of the million.
Well, or they fall on top of me.
Oh God. Ooh.
I rolled a 4.
Okay. Um, so you kind of fire into this inky darkness that's like collecting. Uh, you hear kind of a screech noise, but nothing seems to fall or if you hit something, it's just covered with like more of itself. Um, uh, uh, so you do get to the cave entrance and you kind of look back. When you look back, you expect to see hundreds of spiders like entering this cave system, but you don't. It doesn't seem like the spiders have entered into this tunnel exactly. Uh, which is when you see on either side of the cave entrance that you're kind of looking in through, you start to see these giant legs. A large spider body, like I said, the size of a a small van, kind of pulls itself into the tunnel. It's hanging from the ceiling. It one thing you can see is that although the little spiderlings have not come into this cave, its body seems to be covered in little baby spiders as it starts heading in your direction.
Those the like basketball size ones are the
Uh huh.
like spiders. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. Its body is just covered in hundreds
love
of
it.
those. Um, and yeah, that's where we'll end this session.
Damn.
Things are looking
Sleep
bleak.
well tonight, Justin.
I mean, they're
He's
just
just silent.
He's got the-
they're just spiders. They can't
yeah.
hurt you unless they're minivan sized. Uh, but uh, but yeah, so a little unfortunate for Mufasa who got PK'd.
Sure did.
He
Uh,
did fucking deserved it. Let's
I
be
knew I was gonna be the first one
real.
to die.
No,
you
eight was the first one to die. Let's be real.
Nah, it doesn't count.
He doesn't count.
Yeah.
I expected to have to yeet you into space out of like a
Airlock or something.
airlock or something. Yeah, exactly. So not quite the way, but
Had other ways to kill him. That was just circumstance.
I mean,
Maybe
I got a whole notebook just labeled ways to kill Ryan's characters. No,
maybe next
I had some
session
pretty messed up ones that I told you guys about. So
maybe next session you'll meet a new character I'll be playing. I don't know. I'm just saying that might happen.
and
oh, you're just not
maybe
going to be here for the next one.
and maybe they're a giant spider Balrog. They're
Yeah,
not.
that's what it is.
Oh,
They're not.
Spider Boy.
So question real quick.
Yeah.
For Tick, was he saw another spider thing similar
Oh, a
carrying a
massive
body?
motherfucker.
Probably bigger than the one you're seeing.
He's a big boy.
Came out of the crevice?
Crevice, yeah. We'll just
It
call them. You have mommy spider, and Adam's got daddy spider.
alright.
Wait.
And it was
Oh,
carrying a body in its maw.
Yes, that was.
parts of
Let's
on
be
the
honest.
mandibles is
Let's be
gone.
honest. It's probably Mufasa. Mufasa's probably the only body to plummet into that hole. Anytime recently.
Alright.
Also wearing his clothes. Um,
Are you gonna take that? No.
I will say you did not see his gun or his hollows. Just gonna
Uh,
clear that up right now, just so there's
but
no
he did
mistake.
have an clutch in his hand, his severed hand. He had an IOU slip for 35 hollows.
It was it was a receipt for a bounty hunting service. You're getting calls about that debt
Yeah.
for the
35 hollow debt.
all right, good game.
Yep.
Yeah.
No hard feelings. Good RP.
Oops. Sorry about that,
Uh,
guys.
Hey, we're back. Oh, we're back. Just to say, we're done. Have a good night,
Goodbye.
everybody. Check us out on twitch.tv/Nerdity Crisis. We record every time we feel like it.
Yep.
On
Uh,
Mondays.
not
Click
next
the
week though.
click the little heart, and then click the notification option, and Twitch will just email you.
There you
It'll
go.
do it
Yep.
for you.
Yep.
Otherwise, check out our recordings on the New Identity Crisis YouTube channel. Yeah, that's all we got. But yeah, good game. Later, guys.
Sweet. Thanks.
Later.
Bye-bye.
See ya.